Part 12. Immortal world is back, I am invincible. Author, listen to the wind with your L. Chapter 111. Mr. Zhang and Zhang Zhan wanted to step forward and help Suyu deal with Suyu. After Suyu noticed it, he said, I can solve this matter myself, you can just watch from the sidelines with peace of mind. Mr. Zhang and Zhang Zhan looked worried. Suyu was a strong man who was halfway to the Sky Moon realm. Is it possible that Suyu's cultivation level can surpass that of Suyu? A 21-year-old Sky Moon realm powerhouse? Is it possible? The father and son didn't quite believe that Suyu had entered the Sky Moon realm. Judging from the fact that Suyu could easily kill Suxiao, Suyu's cultivation level should be within the late stage of the Heavenly Star realm, or within the peak of the Heavenly Star realm. This is already shocking enough. As Mr. Zhang, who is at the pinnacle of the Heavenly Star realm, he knows very well how difficult it is to break through to a small level in the Heavenly Star realm. The father and son looked at each other. Although the aura on their bodies was soaring, their feet did not move anymore. Later, as long as Suyu is at a disadvantage, they will help him without hesitation. Suyu's clothes were fluttering, and his aura became more and more terrifying. Naijan, do you still want to make the Su family bleed like a river? You don't have the ability. Today I will clean up the house and use your flesh and blood to honor your uncle and brother-in-law. Suyu had a calm expression on his face, and waved his arm towards Suwu, who had a cold expression on his face. Countless sharp energies rushed towards Suwu. Swish, swish, swish. The flesh and blood on Suwu's body was cut off piece by these sharp energies. Slices of flesh and blood were flying all over the sky. Ah! Suwu roared in pain. He almost died. This torture was driving him crazy. Suyu still did not kill Suwu directly. He smiled and looked at the angry Suyu. Old dog Su, are you heartbroken to see your most beloved grandson being tortured? Could it be that his Suwu's life is his life, but my Suyu's life is not my life? Why did you pull out my bones and eyes? Do you know how much pain I felt back then? That feeling of living in hell is something I will never forget. Sulogu, now I crawl out of hell to seek revenge on you. Are you satisfied? 2,000 years spent in the immortal world. At first, Suyu, who lost his eyes and talent for cultivating immortals, really felt like he was living in hell. He fought hard to live, and he tried his best to crawl forward. He just wasn't willing to let the Su family go. He wanted to take revenge. He must take revenge. Some hatred cannot be diluted by time. So, he climbed out of hell and returned from the immortal world. Suyu's eyes were cold, and the immortal bone in his body had grown again. The feeling of his body being intact gave him a comfortable sense of fullness. There was no trace of regret on Suyu's face. Naijan, don't make excuses here. What's wrong is wrong. From the beginning to the end, you have always been the one who did the wrong thing. As a member of the Su family, you should selflessly contribute to the Su family. Next, I will make you wake up. Say it. He stepped out. The whole person rose into the sky. When Xia Qingying saw that Suyu was serious about it, she said, Suyu, you are too self-righteous. You will pay for what you have done. The Su family is your family, you shouldn't treat the Su family like this. She shook her head with a disappointed look on her face and continued, I take back what I just said. A person with an extreme personality like you is not qualified to be my Xia family's son-in-law. When Xia Qingying finished speaking, Suyu had already stepped through the air and rushed towards Suyu. Don't wait to get close to Suyu. He then slapped Suyu below, 100 palms of the underworld. Suddenly there was a piercing whimpering sound between heaven and earth. Gusts of sinister wind. The vegetation on the ground nearby withered instantly, and thick blood came out gurgling from the ground. Those present felt an overwhelming sense of pain that was almost breathless. Even Mr. Zhang and Zhang Zhan were cold. The two of them tried to move. Just don't wait for them to move. A huge black palm print about 2 meters high condensed in the sky, and shot towards Suyu below at a terrifying speed. There was a boom. Suyu was photographed, and dust and gravel flew up all around. Others could no longer see Suyu clearly. The earth sank again and again. However, this is just the beginning. Then a second huge black palm print, a third huge black palm print, a fourth huge black palm print were condensed in the sky. The moment each black palm print is condensed, it will be shot towards Suyu's position below. Under the influence of this move, Mr. Zhang and Zhang Zhan spurted blood from their mouths. They were completely unable to get close to Suyu and could only do their best to protect Zhangwan and others. Old bastard, how dare you practice the 100 palms of underworld? Mr. Zhang roared angrily. This is a pseudo rank 7 combat skill. The power of 100 palms far exceeds the rank 6 apex level combat skills, but it is still a little short of the real rank 7 combat skills. Therefore, this combat skill is classified into pseudo rank 7 combat skills. In Xia's country, rank 6 combat skills are already rare, let alone rank 7 combat skills. In the process of practicing the 100 palms of the underworld, you need to kill people constantly and make your hands stained with blood. This kind of pseudo-rank 7 combat skill is explicitly forbidden for monks to practice in Xia dynasty. If there are monks practicing, they will be killed without mercy. But this move is indeed powerful. One palm shot can form 100 huge and terrifying handprints. Suyu looked down at the ugly old Mr. Zhang below. In this world, there are always winners and losers. As long as my Su family is strong enough, no one will hold me accountable. After I kill this evil obstacle, it will be your turn soon. Boom, boom, boom. Loud noises filled the air. The earth is shaking like a beaten drum. After 100 huge black palm prints were all bombarded, quietness returned to heaven and earth. The place where Suyu was filled with dust. Zhangwan's eyes turned red. Is it possible for Suyu to survive this move? Suyu, have you forgotten? Zixuan, Yuxin, and the others are still waiting for you in Linzhou. How could you die here? Zhangwan rushed towards the dusty place. Mr. Zhang and the others did not stop him. Suyu's face was full of coldness. Xia Qingying said lightly, ants are just ants after all. When Suwu saw this, he was very proud at first, but he soon realized something was wrong. If Suyu died, why was he still confined in mid-air? Could it be that Suyu was just seriously injured? Then I thought about it. Fair enough. He had to torture Suyu to death with his own hands. When this thought came to his mind, a figure walked out of the dust in the sky, and Zhangwan ran into the arms of this figure. Suyu, who was spotless, hugged Zhangwan's waist and said, "Don't be so reckless." Zhangwan's eyes widened in disbelief. The diffuse dust is gradually dissipating. Suyu looked at Suyu. Old dog Su, are you tickling me? You are really too weak. Say it. He pointed his finger towards Suyu. The sky suddenly sank. Suyu, whose face was full of disbelief, instantly felt that his body became extremely heavy, as if there was a 10,000-meter mountain pressing on him. When panic flashed across his face, the next moment, his body suddenly fell downwards. Immortal world is back, I am invincible. Author, listen to the wind with your L. Chapter 112. Boom. A loud noise echoed between heaven and earth. Suyu fell rapidly, and his body hit the ground heavily. Debris flew up. The air was filled with dust. Suyu let go of Zhangwan. Now you can rest assured and watch from the sidelines, right? Zhangwan's beautiful eyes were filled with horror, and she walked back to Mr. Zhang and the others absent-mindedly. After a while, Zhangwan took a deep breath and asked, "Grandpa, Brother Suyu just defeated Suyu, who is half a step into the Sky Moon realm. Mr. Zhang was also unable to recover. A bitter smile appeared on his face. Xiaowan, it seems that we have repeatedly underestimated Suyu's strength. My grandson-in-law has definitely entered the Sky Moon realm. To be able to defeat old Gosu so easily, his cultivation level is most likely in the middle stage of the Sky Moon realm. Zhang Zhan almost bit his tongue, a 21-year-old strong man in the middle stage of the Sky Moon realm. What level can my good son-in-law reach in the future? I really don't dare to think about it anymore. The Su family is really full of shit in their heads. Zhang Feng reminded, Grandpa, Uncle, don't forget that my brother-in-law has other identities. The terrifying cultivation and strength are just part of his evil qualities. Mr. Zhang and Zhang Zhan were reminded like this. Only then did they remember that Suyu was still a 7-star array master and a 7-star alchemist. As long as these people can survive safely, they will definitely be able to reach the top of the earth in the future. Mr. Wei and Mr. Chiao on the side looked excited. Just because they are followers of Suyu, they will be witnesses on Suyu's rise. This honor is something they will be proud of for a lifetime. Guo Changping, as the vice president of the Imperial Capital Formation Mage Association, was so open that he could no longer utter a word. Now, he finally began to believe that Mr. Wei and Mr. Chiao were able to defeat him because of Suyu. Seeing the two empty arms, his anger towards Suyu skyrocketed. However, the terrifying strength Suyu showed made him frightened. He dared not speak out in anger. Xia Qingying lost her composure completely. A person who can enter the Sky Moon realm at the age of 21. Even in Kunlun Mountain, there is no such evil genius. She made mistakes again and again with Suyu. While she gritted her teeth, Suyu walked towards the place where Suyu fell. The dust in the air gradually dissipated. I saw a deep pit being smashed into the ground. Suyu lay on his back in the pit like a dead dog. The terrifying force pressing on him had not dissipated, and now he could not even stand up. Suyu stood outside the pit and looked down at Suyu, with a very indifferent expression on his face. Puff. When Suyu saw this, he was so angry that he spurted out a large mouthful of blood from his mouth. Before this, he never imagined that he would lose to Suyu, the abandoned son of the Su family. He is not willing to give in. He was unwilling to let the Su family end like this. Suyu asked coldly, where did my parents go back then? Suyu mocked, you and your parents are both damn bitches. Don't wait for him to finish speaking. Suyu moved his fingers. A swish sound. A sharp force flew out and cut off the thumb of Suyu's right hand. For a moment, blood spurted out. Where are my parents? Suyu asked again. With his cultivation, he had the ability to search Suyu's soul, but he wanted Suyu to say it himself. Not long after he was born, his parents left the Su family and never came back. When Suyu was a child, he only saw photos of his parents. Before, he used talismans to calculate the location of his parents. But the Earth's heavenly path is too weak to withstand the power he keeps pouring into the talisman. Therefore, in the end, he only vaguely learned that his parents were somewhere west of Xia Kingdom. Suyu, who had one of his thumbs cut off, looked a little ferocious. He suppressed a cry of pain. Are you deaf? Seeing that Suyu didn't speak, Suyu moved his fingers again. There was another swish sound. This time, the index finger of Suyu's right hand was cut off, and the blood spurted out stained the soil red. After Suwu saw Suyu's fingers being cut off one after another, his emotions completely lost control. Suyu had always been his last resort. Now that Suyu can only let Suyu torture him, is there any chance that he can survive today? At this moment, Suwu's face was filled with despair. As the saying goes, 10 fingers connect to the heart. After the second finger was cut off, Suyu finally let out a muffled sound in his throat. After the remaining Su family members present saw Suyu's miserable appearance, they were so frightened that their whole bodies trembled, and they all seemed to have lost their souls. Once Suyu was taken away from his immortal bones. In order to please Su Xiao's family, the people in the Su family have all humiliated Suyu to one degree or another. Now that Suyu has completely risen and has the cultivation level of Tianyu realm, they are naturally filled with fear. Some timid Su family members present even collapsed on the ground, their crotches completely soaked. Guo Chenping's face became increasingly pale. He used to be extremely dazzling, and he was surrounded by stars wherever he went. He had never felt fear before. Xia Qingying's eyes were fixed on Suyu. Is that enough? You have killed so many people and taken back the immortal bones. What else do you want to do? Do you have to destroy the entire Su family? This is your home after all, don't be so cruel. Suyu smiled. He smiled coldly. Xia Qingying is such a green tea. Originally there was no enmity between him and Xia Qingying, so he had no interest in meeting Xia Qingying. But Xia Qingying came to provoke him again and again. Do you really think he is a clay figure who can be kneaded by others? Besides, the clay figurine is still very angry. Suyu flicked his arm. There was a pop sound. A force of energy hit the left side of Xia Qingying's face, and her left cheek suddenly became bloody and bloody. Suyu said coldly, there are so many flies. Are you buzzing enough? Xia Qingying didn't expect that Suyu would dare to slap her in public. Feeling the severe pain on the left side of her face, she clenched her hands into fists. After his chest heaved violently for a while, Xia Qingying said nothing with a gloomy face. Just when Suyu was about to attack Suyu again. From the distant sky, 3 figures came through the sky at extremely high speeds. Just a few seconds. These 3 figures came above Suyu and others. A terrifying momentum shot straight down from the sky, shrouding the entire area of the Su family manor. Mom, Dad, and Uncle died in the hands of Suyu, a bastard. My immortal bones were pulled out by Suyu, and Grandpa is being tortured by Suyu. Suwu yelled at a woman among the 3. This person is Suwu's mother Meng Yan. A middle-aged man named Meng Kong and another young man named Meng Ziyi were following her. They are the son and grandson of Mr. Meng. The Meng family also comes from Kunlun Mountain. When Suyu killed Mr. Meng, the power of the mark left by the Meng family on Mr. Meng turned into a curse and was imprinted on the back of Suyu's hand. The Meng family can use this to identify the murderer of Mr. Meng. Suyu did not eliminate this so-called curse. He just wants the Meng family to come to his door and then destroy the Meng family. After all, it was Elder Meng who provided the method of transplanting immortal bones back then. Meng Kong and Meng Ziyi instantly determined that Mr. Meng's death was related to Suyu. Meng Ziyi shouted sharply, "You bastard, come forward and die." You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Immortal World is back, I am invincible. Author, listen to the wind with your L. Chapter 113. The cold eyes of Meng Kong, Meng Yan, and Meng Ziyi were fixed on Suyu at the same time. After Meng Yan learned what had just happened here, her face was filled with endless anger, and the aura of the peak of the creation realm rushed out of her. She didn't expect that when she returned from abroad, she would be separated from her husband. Even her son was tortured extremely miserably and even lost the immortal bones in his body. Meng Yan was so angry that she almost went crazy. She wanted to drink Suyu's blood and eat Suyu's flesh. Mom, you have to be careful. This bastard has entered the Sky Moon realm, and his cultivation level is most likely in the middle stage of the Sky Moon realm. Suwu's voice was a little weak when he spoke. Meng Yan frowned tightly and looked at Meng Kong beside her. My dad must have died at the hands of this bastard. Don't worry, even if you don't have any hatred against him today, I will personally send him to see the King of Hell. Mengkong said coldly. Immediately afterwards, an aura that shattered the earth erupted from his body like a tsunami. The surroundings were instantly filled with a terrifying oppression. Cold sweat broke out on Mr. Jiang's forehead, the peak of the Sky Moon realm. He turned out to be a strong man at the peak of the Sky Moon realm. Zhang Zhan, Mr. Wei, and others on the side were breathless. It is said that within Tianyu, every small level is very far apart. It is almost nonsense to want to defeat the opponent in Tianyu territory. Mr. Zhang and the others guessed that Suyu's cultivation level was in the middle stage of Tianyu realm. Now to take a step back, even if Suyu's cultivation level has entered the late stage of Tianyu realm, he will not be Mengkang's opponent at all. Is it possible that Suyu, like Mengkang, is a strong man at the peak of the Sky Moon realm? Even Suyu has entered the great perfection of the Sky Moon realm. Is it possible? Mr. Zhang and others sighed. The odds are slim. You bastard, how dare you kill my grandfather? I will make your life worse than death today. I will chop you into pieces and feed them to wild dogs. Meng Ziyi shouted. He burst out with the aura of late stage in the sky control realm. Judging from his appearance, he is about the same age as Su Wu. Su Wu was one of the top geniuses in Tianhai, but as a result, any younger member of the Meng family could be as good as Su Wu. It seems that the hundreds of tribes in Kunlun Mountain have two brushes. Suddenly, Meng Ziyi saw the bloody Xia Qingying on the left side of his face. After being stunned for a while, he asked in surprise, "Are you Xia Qingying, the third lady of the Xia family in Kunlun Mountain?" Mengkang's gaze immediately shifted. A few years ago, when Xia Qingying was 18 years old, she went back to Xia's home in Kunlun Mountain. At that time, the Xia family held a very grand coming-of-age ceremony for Xia Qingying. Mengkang and Meng Ziyi happened to attend the coming-of-age ceremony, and they met the third lady of the Xia family. At that time, Meng Ziyi could not forget the dazzling Xia Qingying for a long time. The Xia family ranks 9th among the hundreds of clans in Kunlun Mountain. The Meng family's ranking is much lower. The Meng family's ranking among the 100 clans is just over 50. So in the eyes of Mengkang and Meng Ziyi, Xia Qingying is the existence they need to fawn over. Before this, Meng Yan didn't know that Xia Qingying came from the Xia family in Kunlun Mountain. This was the first time she returned to the family to ease the relationship after leaving home in anger. She brought Mengkang and Meng Ziyi to Tianhai. In addition to letting them come here for revenge, she also wanted the father and son to help her son Su Wu. "Miss Third, who hurt you like this?" Meng Ziyi asked with concern. Xia Qingying looked at Su Yu with cold eyes. When Meng Ziyi saw this, he yelled, "B*tch, do you know what kind of existence the Xia family is? The third lady is called the third princess in Kunlun Mountain. There are countless proud men in Kunlun Mountain who are the suitors of the third miss. You damn toad actually dares to injure the third miss. If you don't get forgiveness from Miss San today, I will torture everyone around you to death. I want you to watch the people you care about die miserably because of you." When Xia Qingying saw Meng Ziyi being so naughty, the ugly expression on her face finally softened. Su Yu's face was full of indifference. "Have you shouted enough? What a mad dog that likes to bark. Because you still want to make my life worse than death? Just because you want to chop me into pieces and feed me to wild dogs? Who do you think will die first between you and me? Come out here." Mengkang increased his vigilance and rushed towards Su Yu. "You bastard, as long as I'm here, you can't be so arrogant." He exploded with extreme speed at the peak of the Sky Moon realm. Not even a blink of an eye. Mengkang approached Su Yu. He looked at Su Yu, who was standing motionless, with a contemptuous smile on his lips. He determined that his speed was too fast and Su Yu couldn't react at all. So what if the bastard in front of me is in the middle stage of Sky Moon realm? In front of him, he was still no different from an ant. Mengkang punched Su Yu. The fist light is dazzling. Terrifying destructive power erupted from his fist, as if the world was about to be exploded by him. He felt that there was no need to use combat skills to deal with Suyu. When Mr. Zhang saw this, he couldn't do anything. He couldn't get involved in a battle of this level. Zhang Wan's body was tense, and her heart seemed to stop beating. Zhang Zhan, Mr. Wei, and others next to him held their breath. Xia Qingying said to herself coldly, "It's over." Su Wu, whose mobility was restricted, yelled, "Zombie, you're done." However, the smile on Meng Kang's face suddenly solidified. Just because his fist passed through Su Yu's body, all he attacked was an extremely real shadow. The power from his punch poured out. Bang, bang, bang. The ground ahead made horrific explosions one after another. Meng Kang couldn't care too much when he wanted to find Su Yu. Su Yu appeared in front of Meng Ziyi in mid-air at some point. Before Meng Ziyi could recover, his right palm grabbed Meng Ziyi's throat. Su Yu didn't have any momentum at all. But after Meng Ziyi was grabbed by Su Yu's throat, he couldn't even move his fingers. Su Yu lowered his head and looked down at Meng Kang, who had an ugly face. "I want to kill this dog that likes to bark, and you can't stop it." Meng Yan next to her moved her lips and wanted to speak. Looking at Su Yu, who was right in front of her, she didn't dare to move even if she had a lot of hatred in her heart. No one present saw when Su Yu appeared in front of Meng Ziyi. The speed was beyond their comprehension. Meng Kang clenched his hands into fists, his body trembling slightly. "I admit defeat. As long as you let it go, my son and I will leave now." But what responded to him was the sound of cracking bones. Click, click, click. Su Yu casually crushed Meng Ziyi's throat. "Do you think I will give up if you bow your head? You are the ones who came to provoke me. This is the burial place of your father and son today. Immortal world is back, I am invincible." Author, listen to the wind with your L. Chapter 114. When Meng Kang saw his son being killed, the anger in his body surged to the extreme, and the expression on his face was as ferocious as a ghost. His aura at the peak of the Sky Moon realm boiled over. His father, Mr. Meng, was originally just a slave of the Meng family. Mr. Meng followed Meng Yan and left the Meng family simply because Meng Yan's father had been kind to him. Meng Kang rose up in the Meng family on his own. After getting great opportunities by coincidence, he and his son Meng Ziyi got rid of the fate of being a slave and found a place in the Meng family. When he left Kunlun Mountain this time, he never thought that his son would be killed. He always felt that as long as he was around, in this small world, who would dare to shout with him? As a result, reality slapped him hard. "Zombie, even if it means death, I will support you." Meng Kang roared. Su Yu flicked his right hand, and Meng Ziyi's body rushed towards Meng Kang below like a cannonball. A harsh whistling sound resounded from heaven to earth. Meng Kang naturally couldn't leave Meng Ziyi's body alone. He stretched out his hands to catch Meng Ziyi's body. But when Meng Ziyi's body approached, his expression changed instantly. The impact brought by Meng Ziyi's body was too terrifying. He had not yet touched the body. Under the influence of the impact, he felt that all the blood in his body was about to leave his body. "It's too late to hide now." Meng Kang's face was solemn, and the spiritual energy in his body started to move in a strange way, red gold flaming hand. The next moment, Meng Kang's hands were dyed a layer of gold, and then a fiery red flame surrounded his hands. The space around his palms was distorted. Mr. Zhang said in a hoarse voice, "This is the real rank 7 combat skill, the red gold flame hand. It is said that these combat skills not only make the hands indestructible, but the flames on the hands can invade the opponent's body and burn the opponent's whole body blood." However, while he was speaking, Meng Ziyi's body had hit Meng Kang's hands. Originally, in everyone's opinion, with Meng Kang's cultivation at the peak of the heavenly moon realm, he would definitely be able to successfully catch Meng Ziyi's body after using the rank 7 combat skill, the red gold flame hand. But the reality made their eyes widen. Sound. Under the impact of Meng Ziyi's body, Meng Kang's two arms suddenly exploded and turned into dense blood mist in the air. Meng Kang's body flew several meters away before falling heavily to the ground. After his arm burst, blood spurted out from both of his shoulders, and painful groans came from his throat. Su Yu didn't take a second look at Meng Yan next to him. In the sight of everyone, his figure slowly fell to the ground. Mr. Zhang was numb with shock. After taking a deep breath, he said, "Xiaowan, I don't want to speculate on the cultivation level of my grandson-in-law anymore. Anyway, I only know that his cultivation level must be above the peak of the Sky Moon realm." Zhang Zhan nodded and said, "My good son-in-law makes me feel like a bottomless pit. Every time I thought I saw him clearly, I only saw the tip of the iceberg." Zhang Wan's beautiful eyes were filled with sparkles, and at the same time, a kind of self-doubt arose in her heart. Su Yu's level of evil was far beyond her imagination. Is she really qualified to be Su Yu's woman? Zhang Feng shouted out unscrupulously, "Brother-in-law is mighty. Who here can stop his brother-in-law now?" Mr. Wei and Mr. Chiao were all smiles, and their inner worries finally dissipated. Meng Kang struggled to stand up and yelled, "You bastard, your ability to defeat me is nothing. Do you know how powerful our Meng family is? The Meng family is not something you can mess with." Xia Qingying looked at Su Yu from a distance, her face full of complex expressions. After Meng Kang took action, she thought Su Yu would lose quickly. But the result was a slap in the face. Su Yu faced Meng Kang with an absolute crushing victory. Xia Qingying felt very uneasy inside. Su Yu ignored these people and came to the pit again. "Old dog Su, aren't you ready to talk? Where were my parents back then?" Su Yu's face twitched when he faced Su Yu's indifferent gaze. Why could Su Yu grow to such an extent in just 2 years? This is completely unreasonable. Su Wu, whose mobility was restricted, suddenly shook his head wildly. "Impossible, this is impossible. How come you, a reptile, can defeat a strong man at the peak of the Sky Moon realm? I must be dreaming, none of this is real." At this moment, Su Wu seemed to be going crazy. Su Yu didn't want to be tortured by Su Yu anymore, so he said with trembling lips, "Your parents were taken away by several men in black back then. Those men in black are strong. I couldn't move in front of their momentum. I don't know who those men in black are. I tried to investigate but found nothing. I guess those men in black may be related to your mother. I haven't investigated your mother's background yet." After Su Yu listened, he said calmly, "Is that all?" A flash of panic flashed in Su Yu's eyes. Su Yu caught the change in Su Yu's eyes. He stretched out his right palm. Su Yu's body floated up from the pit and floated towards his right palm. Now he was not interested in torturing Su Yu anymore. After clasping Su Yu's forehead with his right palm, a thought came into his mind. All the memories about Su Yu's life appeared in Su Yu's mind. Su Yu quickly sorted out the acquired memories. Just 1 minute later, the expression on his face became colder. In Su Yu's memory, Su Yu's mother was an excellent furnace for the monks. At that time, Su Yu was planning to collect supplements from Su Yu's mother in order to obtain Su Yu's mother's cultivation. As a result, before his plan was implemented, Su Yu's parents were taken away by several mysterious men in black. Su Yu has been very angry about this. Su Yu's deep eyes were filled with cold light. "Old dog Su, you really deserve to die." Su Yu's face was as pale as paper as his soul was being searched, and cold sweat was dripping on his forehead. When he came to his senses a little, Su Yu swung the hand that held Su Yu's forehead into the sky. Su Yu was thrown high into the air. Su Yu aimed his right palm at Su Yu from a distance, and then pulled his palm back. A swish sound. Su Yu's skin was peeled off, and his oozing flesh and blood appeared in front of everyone. Ah! A hoarse scream echoed throughout the world, and Suyu shouted, "Suyu, I am your biological grandfather." Suyu said coldly, "Are you worthy?" He aimed at Suyu's palm from the air and suddenly clenched it into a fist. The next second, Suyu, who was in the sky, exploded with a bang and turned into countless blood drops, falling to the ground below. Blood dripped. It's like it's raining blood. Immortal world is back, I am invincible. Author, listen to the wind with your L. Chapter 115. The smell of blood in the air became stronger and stronger. After Suyu was killed by Suyu, there was a brief silence all around. Suyu's eyes were deep. It seems that his mother has a good background on Earth, and may also come from a certain cultivating force. While he was thinking, Menyan took out a talisman from her body in mid-air. After injecting spiritual energy, the talisman suddenly burned. Circles of mysterious ripples rippled in the air. After Suyu came to his senses, he glanced at Menyan in the sky. This is a communication charm. I have informed the Meng family about what happened here. If you continue to act recklessly, the Meng family will not only kill you, but also everyone around you. Although Menyan's voice was cold, there was a slight tremor in it. Especially when facing Suyu's gaze, she felt as if she was about to suffocate. Suyu's figure jumped into the air and walked step by step towards Suwu, who was restricted in mid-air. After getting closer, Suyu did not kill Suwu instantly. This time, he stretched out his hands one after another, each time going deep into Suwu's flesh and blood, and quickly pulled out a bone. Puff, puff, puff. The sounds of flesh and blood being broken sounded one after another. Blood splattered in mid-air. Suwu kept screaming in pain from his throat, "Ah! You bastard, stop it!" Seeing that Suyu still stretched out his hands unhurriedly, Suwu completely collapsed. "Suyu, I know I was wrong, please stop, I beg you." Suwu burst into tears in pain and vomited blood continuously from his mouth. When Menyan saw this, she wanted to rush over to Suyu desperately. But an invisible cage seemed to form around her. She took 2 steps and was stopped by a force. "Suyu, as long as you stop now, I can persuade the Meng family not to seek revenge from you. That's definitely a good thing for you. Being hunted by the Immortal cultivation family in Kunlun Mountain, you will definitely die without a burial place. This is your only chance to survive." Menyan roared. Suyu turned a deaf ear and continued to pull out the bones in Suwu's body one by one. His hands were stained with warm blood. Suwu was getting weaker and weaker, and he was about to die. "Cousin, I am your brother. Please give me a way to live. I don't want to die. I really don't want to die. I promise I won't hate you, and I won't seek revenge from you in the future." Suwu begged. Menyan said anxiously, "Suyu, Xiaowu is your cousin after all. You have killed so many people here, isn't it enough? I beg you to let Xiaowu go. I am willing to kowtow to you and apologize." Suyu finally looked back at Menyan. "Is it enough to kill only a few people? I don't think it's enough at all. When I was 5 years old, you opened my stomach with a knife and I cried and begged you. Do you pay attention to me? All I see is your sneering faces. You will never imagine the despair and pain I have endured. Say it." Suyu sped up his hands. Not a moment. Not a single bone in Suwu's body was left. Suyu slapped it with one palm. Bang! Suwu's body directly turned into dense blood mist. "No. You bastard, you will definitely die a bad death." After Menyan saw Suwu's tragic death, she cried and roared. Suyu looked impatient. "You love your son so much, I will send you to reunite with him." The words fell. Suyu pointed towards Menyan. Countless light spots appeared in front of him and shot towards Menyan one after another. Every point of light contains terrifying piercing power. Puff, puff, puff. Menyan's flesh and blood was continuously broken open by light spots, as if a gun was shooting at her. But under Suyu's control, these light spots all avoided Menyan's vital parts at first. The torture of these light spots piercing her body made Menyan's entire face become extremely ferocious, and she kept screaming in pain from her throat, "Ah!" More than a minute later, Suyu waved his arm. All these light spots shot towards Menyan's head. There was a bang sound. Menyan's whole head suddenly exploded, like a flower blooming in the air. Menkong, who had lost his arm on the ground, saw this scene. He swallowed saliva crazily in his throat and breathed rapidly through his nose. When he just wanted to say something to beg for mercy, Suyu had no time to chat with him. His figure fell down quickly and stepped on Menkang's chest. Bang! Starting from the chest, Menkang's body was trampled into two pieces by Suyu. This guy stared with his eyes wide open. He obviously left Kunlun Mountain this time with full confidence. He wanted to make his name known all over the world. As a result, just after arriving at Tianhai, he and his son were killed one after another. If he had known this, even if he knew that Suyu was the murderer of his father, he would never choose revenge. Unfortunately, there is no regret medicine in this world. Suyu breathed out a heavy breath, and the knot in his heart finally relaxed a little. Guo Chengping, the vice president of the Imperial Capital Formation Mage Association, was already trembling and slumped on the ground, and no sound could come out of his throat. In his eyes, Suyu is a devil. An out-and-out devil. A trace of viciousness appeared on Xia Qingying's face, and she stepped forward. "Suyu, your ability is indeed far beyond my expectation. I can give you one last chance. As long as you are willing to kowtow to me and apologize and become my slave from now on, I can forgive you for everything you have done and let you join our Xia family." She tried again to make Suyu bow his head and surrender. Mr. Zhang, Zhang, and others stared at Suyu closely. Now Menyan has been summoned back to the Meng family. Next, there will definitely be stronger monks from the Meng family in Kunlun Mountain coming to seek revenge on Suyu. Joining the Xia family will definitely make the Meng family afraid to act rashly. This is indeed a good choice. But Mr. Zhang and others felt that with Suyu's temper and character, he would definitely not bow to Xia Qingying. Suyu said coldly, "Are you not awake yet? Originally, there is no enmity or grudge between me and you. As long as you leave silently, I will not embarrass you. But you don't seem to value your own life." When Xia Qingying heard this, she suddenly sneered, "Suyu, do you think you can kill me? Since you are unwilling to bow your head, then I will let you see the true power of gods and demons. Today, even if I pay a heavy price, I will send you to hell. I will make you go to hell to repent." Finished. A strange bloody power rushed out from her body. This bloody power instantly enveloped the entire Su family manor. As soon as concern appeared on the faces of Mr. Zhang, Zhang, and others present, they fell into a state of unconsciousness, as if they had entered a coma. After Suyu felt this strange power, he said lightly, "It's interesting. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Immortal World is back, I am Invincible." Author, listen to the wind with your L. Chapter 116. Xia Qingying's eyes turned blood red. She opened the palm of her right hand, and blood immediately poured out from the wound. "Suyu, now that things have happened, are you still stubborn? You will soon learn how foolish it is to go against me." She raised her right arm and pointed her palm toward the sky. "Sacrifice the gods and demons with my blood. Awaken the power of my past life." The expression on Xia Qingying's face began to become crazy, and the blood flowing out of her palms flew high into the sky. She donated a lot of blood in her body, until her face turned pale, and the blood flowing out of her palm finally stopped flying. A majestic huge figure faintly appeared in the sky. This moment, the sky seemed to collapse. The huge figure looked at Xia Qingying. The next moment, Xia Qingying's aura became weird, and the look in her eyes became calmer and calmer. The entire sky was dyed a layer of light black. After a while, a sarcastic sneer appeared on the corner of Xia Qingying's mouth. Suyu, have you ever heard of reincarnation? Some powerful people will carry the memories of their previous lives with them after reincarnation. That's just me. In my last life, I was so radiant that countless people crawled in front of me to please me, just to make me smile. Do you know now what kind of big opportunity you missed? The huge figure high in the sky disappeared. Xia Qingying's eyes flashed red, and with a wave of her arm, time in this area suddenly stopped. The leaves that originally fell from the towering trees on the side stopped quietly in mid-air. The ants crawling on the ground became motionless. Mr. Zhang and others fell into an unconscious state. The breathing in their noses stopped, and they seemed to have turned into statues. This scene looks extremely weird. This is my saint's domain. In my realm, I can control time. Here, I am the master. The smile on Xia Qingying's face grew stronger, and she looked at Suyu contemptuously. By the way, I almost forgot, you may not have even heard of saint. You will never come into contact with a cultivator of this level in your lifetime. I entered the ranks of saint in my last life. I just sacrificed my blood to the gods and demons, and forcibly opened the time domain I had in my previous life. For this reason, I will not be able to achieve a breakthrough in my cultivation for 100 years. It's all your fault. Suyu, I must make your life worse than death. Xia Qingying walked slowly towards Suyu and continued, in my domain, I can make you stop at any time. Didn't you slap me just now? I will first cut off the flesh on your face piece by piece. She pointed at Suyu. The mysterious power in the time domain instantly covered Suyu's body. Xia Qingying's eyes were filled with murderous intent, and she took out a sharp dagger from her body. When she wants to take action, Suyu slapped out a slap, followed by a crisp pop sound. The other half of Xia Qingying's cheek also became bloody and bloody. She staggered and fell to the ground, her eyes filled with an expression of disbelief. Seeing Suyu move freely in her saint domain, she kept shaking her head and said, impossible, this is absolutely impossible. Obviously I have covered your body with the power of my domain, why can your body still move? Suyu lowered his head and looked down at Xia Qingying, whose face was completely bruised. Is saint's domain very strong? There are not 10,000 saints who have died in my hands, but 8,000. It doesn't matter if I have one more of you now. Suyu narrowed his eyes slightly. When he first entered the ranks of saints in the immortal world, he was framed and framed. He was hunted down by almost all the saints in the immortal world. In the end, Suyu relied on his own ability and wisdom to kill most of the saints in immortal world in one go. From then on, no saint dared to trouble him again. After Xia Qingying heard Suyu's words, she swallowed hard. Who are you? Are you from the immortal world too? Suyu smiled and said, you are right. I disappeared for 2 years and went to the immortal world. I stayed in the immortal world for 2,000 years before returning to Earth. He moved his fingers. 4 spiritual energy nails condensed in the air in front of him. Puff, 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 puff. Immediately afterwards, 4 spiritual energy nails sank into Xia Qingying's 2 palms and 2 soles of her feet, nailing her hands and feet to the ground. Ah! A painful scream came from Xia Qingying's throat. Suyu's face was very indifferent, and he didn't show any sympathy. Since you got the answer right, I should give you some reward. I will reward you with no intact body. A look of fear finally appeared on Xia Qingying's face. She instinctively believed what Suyu said. And now that things have happened, There is absolutely no need for Suyu to lie to her again. A terrifying existence that killed at least 8,000 saints in the immortal world. This is definitely something Xia Qingying cannot afford to offend. When Xia Qingying was in the immortal world in her previous life, she was not of the same generation as Suyu. Otherwise, she might be killed by Suyu when she was in immortal world. The ancestors of the Su family were kind to Xia Qingying's father. The reason why Xia Qingying was sent to the Su family since she was a child was purely because she wanted to use the immortal bones to start the path of her previous life in advance. It's just that she had calculated everything, but she didn't expect that she would end up like this. I thought that after paying such a painful price, she would definitely make Suyu's life worse than death, and she would definitely be able to send Suyu into the 18th level of hell. As a result, the realm she gained through blood sacrifice was briefly opened, which was a joke in front of Suyu. At this moment, Xia Qingying finally understood where Suyu's confidence came from. Suyu's confidence comes from himself. No wonder when Suyu heard about the hundreds of tribes in Kunlun Mountain, he would laugh at the fact that they were the immortal cultivating families in the corner of the corner. Just because Suyu is most likely a being above saint. Xia Qingying's heart was full of bitterness. Even if hundreds of tribes in Kunlun Mountain join forces, they will probably be easily killed by Suyu. Think of this. Xia Qingying became even more panicked. Just now when Meng Yan was summoned and returned to the Meng family. She also sent a secret message back to the Xia family, and now the Xia family already knows about Suyu. Once she dies here, the Xia family will definitely come to Suyu for revenge in the future. When the time comes, no matter how many Xia family members come, they will definitely be killed by Suyu. She has personally pushed this family into an abyss. Xia Qingying's lips trembled. Senior, I beg you to let the Xia family go. They were not wrong. What was wrong was that I was blind. She has quite a lot of feelings for her parents in this life. Suyu had no interest in wasting the world with Xia Qingying anymore. With a flick of his arm, Xia Qingying, who was nailed to the ground, was quickly turned into pieces of meat under the cutting of sharp energy. Suyu has always been cruel to his enemies. What if he loses to Xia Qingying today? In the end, not only will he die, but Mr. Zhang and others will also die. As the saying goes, poor people must be hateful. Immortal world is back, I am invincible. Author, listen to the wind with your L. Chapter 117. After Xia Qingying was killed, her realm of time fades away. Everything around him returned to normal. The leaves that had stopped in mid-air continued to fall towards the ground. Mr. Zhang, Zhangwan, and others trembled, and doubts flashed on their faces. They had no idea what had just happened. They only remembered that Xia Qingying seemed to have performed an incredible move before losing consciousness. Think of this. Zhangwan and the others looked towards Suyu. When they saw the pieces of meat in front of Suyu, they finally relaxed. They recognized at a glance that these pieces of meat belonged to Xia Qingying. Suyu's figure jumped into the air, and he was ready to clean up the entire Su family. Turn your right palm over. A cluster of purple flames appeared in his palm. This time, he did not try his best to suppress the temperature of Juya purple fire. The air heats up rapidly. There are still many Su family members in the Su family manor. 2 kilometers away from the Su family, the Su family is still guarding them. They are persuading guests to return, not knowing that the Su family will cease to exist. The days when Suyu was in the Tianhai Su family. Anyone who sees him will humiliate him. These people are all trying to flatter Su Xiao's family. Suyu naturally knows the principle of cutting the grass and eradicating the roots. Guo Chengping, the vice president of the Imperial Capital Formation Mage Association, swallowed hard in his throat after feeling the terrifying temperature in the sky. He took a deep breath through his nose, crawled up to Mr. Wei and Mr. Chiao, and begged for mercy. Mr. Wei, Mr. Chiao, please spare my life. As long as you are willing to speak for me, I believe I will survive. Now, how could Guo Changping care about his dignity? He knelt down to Mr. Wei and Mr. Chiao like a mangy dog, kowtowing crazily. Bang, bang, bang dash. The dull sound of kowtows could be heard endlessly. Mr. Wei and Mr. Chiao had disdain on their faces. Is this guy in front of them still the Guo Changping they know? In their memories, Guo Changping was always aloof and arrogant. Mr. Wei and Mr. Chiao were not soft-hearted. If Senior Su hadn't been powerful enough, the two of them would have died in Guo Changping's hands just now. They begged Guo Changping for mercy. Will Guo Changping let them go? Based on their understanding of Guo Changping, the answer is always no. If the Su family had the upper hand today, Guo Changping would kill them without hesitation. Mr. Wei said respectfully to Su Yu, "Senior Su, we are not familiar with him." Mr. Chiao nodded in agreement. When Guo Changping, who was kowtowing, heard this, he suddenly raised his head and wanted to speak. However, high in the sky, Su Yu flicked his fingers. After the 9 nether purple fire turned into a sea of fire, it instantly dispersed into countless small flames, scattering in all directions. A cluster of flames fell on Guo Changping's head. Before Guo Changping could even scream, his whole body was reduced to ashes in front of Mr. Wei and Mr. Chiao. The 9 nether purple fire quickly harvested lives one after another. The Su family, who were guarding the Su family manor 2 kilometers away, were trying to persuade a group of guests to go back. This group of guests kept asking questions and had no intention of leaving. Until clusters of purple flames fell on the guarding Su family members, burning them to ashes instantly. These guests finally stopped nagging. They were scared to death and fled immediately. Just a few minutes. The entire Su family was slaughtered inside and outside. Now only Mr. Zhang and others are left standing outside the Su family manor. It was quiet all around. Mr. Zhang felt a little sad. The influence of the Su family in Tianhai was slightly greater than that of the Zhang family. Now such a big family was completely destroyed by Su Yu on his own. He had the feeling that he was dreaming. Su Yu withdrew the 9 nether purple fire and slowly fell from the sky. The sun was suddenly blocked by clouds. Not a moment. It started to rain lightly in the sky. Soon, the rain became heavier. Mr. Zhang, Zhang, and others walked under the eaves of the Su family manor. Su Yu did not walk over, nor did he gather a layer of blocking power around him. He just stood in the rain, letting the rain soak his clothes. After so many years, he finally killed Su Xiao's family. He turned his back to the sky, and the rain washed his face. Zhang Wan wanted to go over and care about Su Yu. "Xiao Wan, let my grandson-in-law be alone," Mr. Zhang said. Only then did Zhang Wan retract her stepped right foot. Brother-in-law has created a miracle. Not only did he destroy the entire Su family, he also easily killed the strong men from Kunlun Mountain. "Grandpa, can any of you tell me what level my brother-in-law's cultivation level is?" Zhang Feng couldn't suppress the excitement in his heart. These people did not know that Xia Qingying was the reincarnated saint. If they knew that Su Yu could kill even the reincarnated saint, they would probably faint from shock. The cell phone in Zhang Feng's trouser pocket suddenly vibrated. He took it out impatiently and took a look. It was a message from the Qin family in the imperial capital. He received the invitation and went to Qin Tian's and Song Ruian's engagement banquet 6 months later. Now the content of this text message is that Qin Tian's and Song Ruian's engagement banquet will be held in advance. 7 days later, Qin Tian's and Song Ruian will be officially engaged. The Zhang family had investigated Su Yu before, so Zhang Fen knew that Su Yu's infinite purple pupils were poached and transplanted into Qin Tian's eye sockets. He also knew that Song Ruian used to be Su Yu's fiancée. After seeing this text message, Zhang Feng asked several acquaintances in the imperial capital. It turned out that 1 day ago, Qin Tian's got a very unparalleled opportunity in a ruins near the imperial capital, which prompted his infinite purple pupils to evolve to a very terrifying level. Nowadays, Qin Tian's is called the #1 genius in the imperial capital. Next, the Qin family and the Song family will join forces to explore the ruins. For the benefit of both families, the two families decided to advance the engagement party. Zhang Fen whispered to Zhang Wan and the others about the advance of the engagement banquet between Qin Tian's and Song Ruian. When Zhang Wan frowned, Su Yu didn't know when he had appeared next to Zhang Wan. With his cultivation level, he naturally clearly heard what Zhang Feng said to Zhang Wan and the others just now. The infinite purple eyes belong to him, Su Yu. This is also a knot in his mind. Furthermore, he had been sincere to Song Ruian, but in the end his sincerity was fed to the dog. He wanted to beat Song Ruian back to her original form. 7 days later, Qin Tian's will no longer be in the imperial capital. Su Yu spoke very plainly, as if he was stating a fact. When Mr. Zhang Zhan, and others heard this, they were immediately shocked. The water in the imperial capital was much deeper than the sky and sea. There are crouching tigers and hidden dragons in the imperial capital. There used to be many powerful people who entered the imperial capital to cause trouble, and eventually they all disappeared from the world. Immortal world is back, I am invincible. Author, listen to the wind with your L. Chapter 118. This sudden heavy rain has no tendency to stop. Mr. Zhang Wan, and others did not speak to persuade. They knew that Su Yu would not listen. Besides, the infinite purple eyes belong to Su Yu, and they can understand Su Yu's mood. I'll go into Su's house and take a walk. After Su Yu said something, he stepped into the Su family manor. Mr. Zhang said to Zhang Wan, you can come with me. Zhang Wan immediately followed Su Yu. The others tacitly agreed not to make light bulbs. Based on the pictures in his memory, Su Yu came all the way to the yard where his parents once lived. Before the age of 5. Although his parents are not around, he lives very well in the Su family because he has immortal bones in his body. Every time he misses his parents, he comes here. There are fallen leaves everywhere in the yard. The corners were covered with cobwebs. At first glance, you can tell that no one has come to clean this place for a long time. Zhang Wan stayed by Su Yu's side quietly without speaking. She guessed that this place might have some special meaning to Su Yu. Su Yu walked to the door of the room in the courtyard and opened the door. Dust visible to the naked eye was floating in the air. After entering the room, his eyes suddenly narrowed, and he felt like his blood was boiling. And this feeling is getting more and more intense. Su Yu followed this feeling and walked to a wall on the right side of the room. He pressed his palm against the wall and exerted a little force. Click, click, click. Walls shattered. After the cracked gravel fell, a round hole appeared on the wall, hiding an ancient wooden box. Take out the wooden box. I saw dense lines carved on the wooden box. After Su Yu held the wooden box and sensed it for a few seconds, he suddenly understood. A small formation was arranged on this wooden box, mixed with his mother's blood. Only monks who have a blood relationship with his mother can sense the existence of this wooden box. Before he was 5 years old, Su Yu had not officially embarked on the path of cultivating immortality. Although he has a deep blood relationship with his mother, he has no cultivation level. Want to feel this wooden box? The two conditions of blood relationship and cultivation must be met. I'm afraid this is why no one has discovered this wooden box after so many years. In the Su family, only Su Yu has a blood relationship with his mother. After he was 5 years old, his immortal bones were removed and he lost his freedom in the Su family. He was not qualified to come here again. Su Yu tried to open the wooden box. It should be that the formation on the wooden box sensed Su Yu's bloodline. He opened the wooden box easily. There was a letter and a tiger-shaped jade pendant inside. After Suyu hesitated for a moment, he opened the letter. Son, Mom is sorry for you. Your dad and I may not be able to grow up with you. But you must believe that we are the people who love you most in this world. When you read this letter, it means you have achieved a certain level of cultivation. If you can't stay at Su's house, you can go to Duan's house in the northwest. As long as you take out the jade pendant, I believe they will accept you. Don't try to come to us. Your father and I will definitely practice hard, and one day in the future, we will appear in front of you again. Xiao, we love you forever. After Suyu read the contents of the letter, he remained silent for a long time. The law of heaven in this world is too weak. Otherwise, it would be absolutely easy for him to lock down the detailed location of his parents. All he knew so far was that his parents were somewhere to the west. Maybe the Northwest Duan family will have news about his parents. Anyway, he is now sure that his parents are still alive. In this case, after going to the imperial capital to settle his grudges, he immediately went to the Duan family in the northwest. Suyu put the letter in his hand and the jade pendant in the wooden box into the storage ring. He has been missing his father's and mother's love since he was a child. But from every sentence in this letter, he deeply felt his mother's love for him and her reluctance to leave him. Zhangwan stood aside and read the contents of the letter. For a moment, she didn't know how to comfort Suyu. The raindrops made a pitter-patter sound on the window. Suyu adjusted his mood. His parents would never have thought that when he was 5 years old, the immortal bones in his body would be pulled out by the Suxiao family. His impression of his parents only existed in illusions, and deep down in his heart he really wanted to see his parents. $G at *@ Zhangwan, who was wearing a long black dress, hesitated for a moment, then stepped forward and hugged Suyu, saying, "Brother Suyu, if you are sad, I can lend you my sister's shoulder." Without waiting for Suyu to respond, Zhangwan stretched out her hand and pressed Suyu's head towards her. Suyu's face was forced to be buried in Zhangwan's fullness. Very soft. Very warm. Waves of delicious fragrance entered Suyu's nose. Is this a shoulder? Are you bullying him for being uneducated? This simply means that the chest is the shoulder. Zhangwan's cheeks were slightly red, her teeth were biting her lips, and her body was slightly stiff. Suyu quickly raised his head from the desire to cry out on Zhangwan's chest. He stood up straight, and when he lowered his head, the tip of his nose almost touched Zhangwan's. "Woman, do you know you are playing with fire? Be careful of playing with fire and getting burned. I can tell you're still a baby. You're only outwardly open." The hot breath exhaled by Suyu as he spoke touched Zhangwan's lips. Zhangwan's heart beat faster and faster, and she took a step back. "Suyu, I'm just comforting you." Zhangwan pursed her red lips. Facing Suyu's aggressive gaze, Zhangwan took a deep breath. "Brother Suyu, can you guide me in my cultivation from now on?" Suyu's eyesight returned to normal, and he stretched casually. When he was in Immortal World, he had relationships with many beautiful women. It is normal for men in the Immortal World to have 3 wives and 4 concubines. Those powerful men with vast divine ability, even like the ancient emperors, had 3,000 beauties in their harem. Suyu looked at Zhangwan. After a moment, he said, "My time is limited. I will be very busy next time, you can come to me tonight. But you have to be mentally prepared, I'm afraid you won't be able to withstand my impact." Zhangwan bit her lips harder and harder, and she couldn't help but said, "Brother Suyu, you are so bad. However, I am willing to be your woman." Suyu looked confused. "I mean, I will teach you how to practice at night. I will use my spiritual energy to impact your body and help you practice in a special way. What are you talking about with me?" Zhangwan blushed hard. She didn't want to stay with Suyu for a moment longer, and hurried out of the room. "Sister, why are you face so red? Should you be with your brother-in-law?" Zhang Feng, who was wandering around casually, saw Zhang Wan walking out of the yard. Don't wait for him to finish speaking. Zhang Wan angrily kicked Zhang Feng on the butt. Zhang Feng fell to the ground, and a dog came to chew the mud. His face was full of grievances. Shut up if you can't speak. Zhang Wan snorted coldly. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Immortal world is back, I am invincible. Author, listen to the wind with your L. Chapter 119. Night falls. The sky has already cleared. In the Zhang family manor. The round table in the restaurant is filled with all kinds of delicacies. Suyu plans to go back to Linzhou tomorrow. He had just called Tang Yuxin and Lin Zixuan to report that they were safe. Regarding Suyu's birthday banquet, it became the banquet of extermination of the Su family. This matter has spread throughout Tianhai. But no one knew that this was what Suyu did. Now the Zhang family is completely devouring the Su family's property. Outsiders vaguely speculated that the Su family's demise might be related to the Zhang family. For a time, the entire sky and sea became extremely turbulent. Mr. Zhang got up and went out to answer a phone call. After he walked back and took his seat, he frowned tightly. Grandpa, who called you? Zhang Wan asked. Mr. Zhang replied, Ge Dongsheng, the president of the Alchemist Association in the imperial capital. Ge Dongsheng was originally invited to attend Suyu's birthday banquet, and by the way, he had to help the Zhang family refine 7-star elixirs 3 times. Xia Qingying played a big role in why Ge Dongsheng was willing to agree. However, Ge Dongsheng had something to do today and was a little late. By the time he arrived at the Su family had already been slaughtered, and Suyu, Zhangwan, and others had just left. There was no trace of life inside or outside the entire Su family. When Ge Dongsheng learned that the Zhang family was completely devouring the Su family's industry, he felt it necessary to pay a visit to Jiang's house. Zhang Zhan and Mr. Wei all fell into silence. Ge Dongsheng is a genuine 7-star alchemist. Countless strong men have received his favor in the past. As long as he opens his mouth, there are many people who are willing to sacrifice their lives for him. Moreover, as a 7-star alchemist, he often uses elixirs to enhance his strength, so his cultivation should not be underestimated. Until now, no one outside knows what level Ge Dongsheng's cultivation level is. In the eyes of Mr. Zhang and others, although Suyu is also a 7-star alchemist, his reputation in the Xia kingdom is not significant. He cannot command many powerful people like Ge Dongsheng. If Ge Dongsheng is angry, as long as he gives an order, the Zhang family will definitely be trampled to the ground by countless strong men. When Mr. Zhang saw that no one spoke, he continued, Ge Dongsheng will come to visit our Zhang family in an hour. It's said to be a visit, but it could also be a call to investigate. The Su family can invite him to Tianhai, which means there must be some kind of involvement between him and the Su family. Suyu said lightly, just the president of the Alchemist Federation. As long as I'm here, nothing will happen to the Zhang family. After hearing this, Mr. Zhang and others hesitated to speak. In the end, they did not say anything more. They could only take one step at a time. The cell phone on Mr. Chiao suddenly rang. He took it out and saw that it was a video call request from Nijixuan. After Nijixuan quit the Alchemist Association, he devoted himself to taking charge of the Alchemy Club of Changsheng Academy. He had exchanged communication methods with Mr. Chiao and others. Mr. Chiao answered the video call. I saw the camera of Nijixuan's cell phone pointed at the night sky at the entrance of Changsheng Academy. Is Senior Su here? There was a hint of anxiety in Nijixuan's voice. Suyu said, I'm here. Nijixuan took a deep breath. Originally, Vice President Lin did not allow us to contact you, but I think you must know about this matter. Someone from the Southwest Yang family is here. The ones standing in the night sky right now are the other two of the three heroes of the Yang family. They want us to hand you over, Senior Su, and they want the entire Changsheng Academy to kneel down and kowtow. Yang Hai, the head of the Linzhou branch of the Yinbubu, wanted to capture Su Yu. As a result, Lin Zixuan, Mr. Wei, and others stood up for Su Yu. Yang Hai is the illegitimate son of the Yang family. At that time, Yang Zhen, one of the three heroes of the Yang family, happened to arrive in Linzhou, so he naturally wanted to vent his anger on Yang Hai. After he clears the field, he wants to kill everyone. Only then did he realize that he was no different from an ant in front of Su Yu. In the end, Yang Zhen and Yang Hai died one after another. Senior Su, should we rush back to Linzhou immediately? Mr. Wei stood up suddenly. Su Yu said calmly, no need. As long as the formation I arranged is there, nothing will happen to Changsheng Academy. Then, he said, Nijixuan, don't turn off the video call. Live broadcast the entire process for me. Mr. Wei and Mr. Chiao knew that Su Yu had set up a formation in the academy before leaving Linzhou. But so far, they don't know what the power of that formation is. Is it a 7-star formation? The 7-star formation can easily kill the monks in the heavenly star realm. Fight against the strong men of the Sky Moon realm. As for whether it is possible to kill the powerful people in the Sky Moon realm, this depends on what kind of 7-star formation is arranged. Nijixuan breathed out, Senior Su, the other two of the three heroes of the Yang family. One is at the peak of the heavenly star realm, and the other is at the middle stage of the heavenly moon realm. The worries on the faces of Mr. Wei and Mr. Chiao became more intense. Is the formation set up by Senior Su sure that it can kill the strong men in the middle stage of the Sky Moon realm? Su Yu casually said to Nijixuan, okay, I understand. Just stay aside with peace of mind. At the same time, inside Linzhou Changsheng College, Lin Zixuan, Tang Yuxin, Wang Menglu, and Lu Lin stood at the entrance of the college. Behind them followed a group of students in the college. Nijixuan walked over from behind a big tree in the distance. He always had his phone in his hand. Lin Zixuan, how are you thinking about it? My brothers Yang Zhen and Yang Hai died because the Su family abandoned their sons. I've been nagging you for so long because you are from the Lin family. Otherwise, I would have killed someone long ago. The middle-aged man who spoke was Yang Tang, the current head of the Yang family, the eldest of the three heroes of the Yang family. He stood in the night sky looking down at the ground, and his body erupted with a terrifying aura that was in the middle stage of the Sky Moon realm. The bearded man next to Yang Tang is Yang Yi, the second among the three heroes of the Yang family. The aura of the peak of the star realm surrounds him. They didn't know that Su Yu went to Tianhai. The news about the demise of the Su family has not yet reached their ears. Lin Zixuan's cold eyes were filled with murderous intent. She held the jade token given to her by Su Yu in her right hand and was slowly injecting entering spirit into it. With the help of jade cards, she has already communicated the formation that Su Yu has arranged here. Yang Zhen and Yang Hai deserve to die. Are you two brothers going to be buried with them? Lin Zixuan said coldly. Yang Yi mocked, Lin Zixuan, you are only in the early stage of the creation realm, but you dare to talk nonsense in front of us. It seems that we don't have to give the Lin family face anymore. Yang Ten nodded and said, people below, listen to me. If anyone wants to live, he can stand up and kneel on the ground. As soon as these words came out, an old man with black eyes and a skinny face walked out from the crowd. Immediately afterwards, another one-armed swordsman with a cold face came out. These two people were powerful men invited by Nijixuan to take charge of the academy. The former is known as the old man with ghost eyes, and his cultivation is at the early stage of creation. The latter is known as the one-armed sword demon, and his cultivation is in the middle stage of the creation realm. These two people are both good and evil, and their characters are not very good. But now almost no one dares to help Changsheng Academy. With no choice, Nijixuan relied on his former connections and spent a lot of effort to attract the ghost-eyed old man and the one-armed sword demon. These two guys didn't know about the existence of formations in the academy, and they knew nothing about Suyu. One of Yang Teng and Yang Yi is in the middle stage of Tianyu realm, and the other is in the peak level of Tianxing realm. They can't afford it. Your own life is more important. Two seniors, I am willing to work with you to eradicate the Academy of Immortality. The old man with ghost eyes knelt on the ground and said. The one-armed sword demon also knelt down and agreed, two seniors, we are willing to help you. Yang Teng and Yang Yi were in a very good mood when they saw people around Lin Zixuan defecting. Lin Zixuan, don't think that because the dean of your college is named Su, you can use the name of Senior Su Changsheng to fake his authority. Senior Su Changsheng will definitely look down on you. Tonight, we two brothers will make Changsheng Academy disappear in Linzhou. Yang Teng's eyes narrowed. There were waves of strange ripples in the space around him. The ghost-eyed old man and the one-armed sword demon stood up from the ground. They turned around and looked at Lin Zixuan and others with unkind expressions. Nijixuan was so angry that he puffed his beard and glared, "You two untrustworthy bitches. You promised that you would advance and retreat together with the college." The ghost-eyed old man said in a hoarse voice, "Nijixuan, are you not out of your mind?" He was sitting in the position of president of the Linzhou Alchemy Association, but he came to be in charge of an alchemy club within the Pheasant Academy. If it weren't for the profit from you, do you think I would take a Pheasant Academy seriously? The one-armed sword demon pulled out a long black sword. Nijixuan, tonight is destined to be the day of the destruction of Changsheng Academy. Immortal world is back, I am invincible. Author, listen to the wind with your L. Chapter 120. The breeze is gentle. Silvery moonlight poured down from the night sky. Nijixuan's angry forehead had veins popping out, and he looked at the calm Lin Zixuan. Now he can only place his hopes on the formation arranged by Senior Su. The ghost-eyed old man and the one-armed sword demon were so angry that they could no longer speak when they saw Nijixuan, and their aura became even more fierce. Vice President Lin, there is no shame in bowing to the Yang family in southwest China. You are from the Lin family, and you have an immeasurable future. Why are you guarding a Pheasant Academy? That's unwise. The one-armed sword demon raised his right hand and pointed the tip of his sword at Lin Zixuan. The ghost-eyed old man stared at Nijixuan with evil eyes. You have now withdrawn from the Alchemist Association. I think you should join the Yang family and serve the Yang family from now on. This is your only choice to survive now. Yang Teng and Yang Yi looked down at Nijixuan. The two of them knew that Nijixuan was a genuine 3-star alchemist. If Nijixuan can be recruited, it will definitely be beneficial to the Yang family. Nijixuan, this old guy is right. As long as you are willing to join our Yang family, we will give you the treatment you deserve. With the protection of our Yang family, you can walk sideways in the southwest from now on. Yang Teng said in a deep voice. As an alchemist, Nijixuan has his own arrogance in his bones. The reason why he was willing to quit the Alchemist Association and come to the Changsheng Academy to be responsible for the development of the Alchemy Society was purely because he admired Suyu's alchemy skills. I, Nijixuan, am not just a faggot. I will accompany Changsheng Academy until the end. Nijixuan's eyes were full of determination. Yang Teng snorted, stubborn. Say it. His aura in the middle stage of the Sky Moon realm was like boiling water. Abandoned son of the Su family, if you don't come out, all these people will die because of you. Seeing that there was still no response, Yang Teng slapped his palm on the ground. It seems that we really need to kill some people. When you go to the Palace of Hell to report, you must remember that it was the abandoned son of the Su family who killed you. The wind roared high in the sky. The terrifying palm wind struck down. A terrifying destructive force approached the people on the ground at an extremely fast speed. After the ghost-eyed old man and the one-armed sword demon felt the power contained in this palm, they immediately retreated back. This palm is definitely not something that a monk in the creation realm can withstand. Before the destructive force was completely approaching, the entire nearby ground was sinking. Dense cracks spread quickly on the ground like spider webs. Nijiksuen held his breath, cold sweat dripping down his forehead. Tanyuxin pursed her lips tightly and her body seemed a little tense. Lulin, Wangmenglu, and others swallowed hard. The palm of a strong person in the middle stage of Sky Moon realm is no joke. Just when Yang Teng and Yang Yi were sneering, Lin Zixuan controlled the formation arranged by Su Yu at the most critical moment. The next moment, the world shook violently. An astonishing wave of energy soared into the sky from the ground of Changsheng Academy. It was easy to neutralize the destructive power of Yang Teng's palm. At the same time, the shadow of a giant white tiger condensed in the night sky. This white tiger is at least 10 meters tall, and it looks like it is stepping on the moon. White tiger steps on the moon. The entire sky was filled with a terrifying pressure. Yang Teng and Yang Yi's expressions suddenly changed dramatically. From the moment the palm was resolved, they were in shock. Right now, the pressure on the two of them is increasing rapidly. What's going on? Is there a formation hidden in the Academy of Immortality? What level of formation is this? Yang Teng and Yang Yi wanted to force themselves to stay in the sky, but under such pressure, their bones were creaking. If they continue to hold on, their bones may break and die. The moment they gave up resisting the oppressive force of terror. Under the influence of the pressure, their bodies fell towards the ground at an extremely fast speed. The white tiger's shadow in the night sky turned into a white light and rushed towards Yang Teng, who had just slapped a palm. There was a boom. Yang Yi's body fell at the door of Changsheng Academy. He made a deep hole in the ground. Yang Teng was bitten by the giant white tiger, and now only one head was exposed outside the giant tiger's mouth. White tiger stayed in mid-air. Yang Teng struggled desperately in white tiger's mouth, and he roared, "Lin Zixuan, are you going to start an all-out war with our Yang family? I advise you to stop manipulating the formation immediately." He exploded the momentum of the middle stage of Tianyu realm to the extreme. However, he couldn't break free from the giant white tiger's mouth. Lin Zixuan held the jade token in her hand. She was also frightened by the horror of this formation. After slowly exhaling from her mouth, she said coldly, "Yang Teng, don't you want us here to see the King of Hell? Aren't you going to destroy Changsheng Academy? How dare you threaten us now? Do you see the current situation clearly? You can embark on the road to hell with peace of mind." The words fell. Yang Teng was really scared. He opened his mouth and was about to speak. Under the control of Lin Zixuan, the giant white tiger violently exerted force in its mouth. Sound. Yang Teng's body turned into a ball of blood mist, with only a dead head falling towards the ground. When Yang Teng's head fell on the ground, it rolled all the way into the deep pit created by Yang Yi. Yang Yi, whose whole body was about to fall apart, saw his brother's dead head, and his face was as pale as paper with fear. You must know that his cultivation is only at the peak of the heavenly star realm, and is far inferior to his brother Yang Teng. Why is there such a terrifying formation hidden in Changsheng Academy? Is this the 7-star formation? Yang Yi's clothes were soaked with sweat, and his body was trembling slightly. After Nijixuan saw Yang Teng being killed, he was slightly stunned at first, and then his face was full of excitement. Senior Su is really awesome. Joy appeared on the faces of Tanyuxin, Lulin, and others. Tanyuxin was proud of Su Yu. Nijixuan looked at the dumbfounded old man with ghost eyes and the one-armed sword demon. The Changsheng Academy is not something that just the Yang family in the southwest can mess with. I remember that you just wanted to massacre us together with the Yang family. When we face enemies at Changsheng Academy, we always have to eradicate them. The ghost-eyed old man and the one-armed sword demon looked at Yang Teng's dead head in the pit, and then at the trembling Yang Yi. Their intestines turned green with regret. The phantom of the white tiger in the night sky frightened them, and they felt a strong sense of suffocation. Plop, pop twice. Finally, the ghost-eyed old man and the one-armed sword demon knelt down to Nai Jixuan. "Mr. Nai, please spare our lives," the ghost-eyed old man and the one-armed sword demon said in unison.